Hello, everybody, and welcome to this special episode where we are having a big surprise for you. We have a special guest today from our friends at Gatling, who is going to be introducing to us this brand new tool that they are bringing up now to our market, GatlingStudio. So without waiting too long, I'm bringing here now to the studio our amigo Shaun Brown. And he's on screen. Hello, amigo Shaun. How are you?
Hey, Leandro. I'm great. How are you?
Very good. I'm very excited about bringing to all of our audience all these surprises that you are bringing to us today so that we can do better automations with performance scripts and create better experiences for the users that want to code and have visual tools and all sorts of things. But I think I'm getting ahead of myself. Shaun, what are you bringing us today?
Yeah, today I'm here to show a brand new product from Gatling called GatlingStudio. It's a standalone application that is designed to let you record actions in the browser, and it captures all the events and then lets you go from those captured events to a fully functional load test in just a few minutes.
Wow, this is a big need given that Gatling, for the ones that do not know, initially is a code-based automation tool for performance and load testing, but many users have been asking continuously for this type of functionalities. So, Shaun, to begin with this little walkthrough and this show that you are going to give us explaining us how to use the tool, I'm going to bring now your desktop so that you can show us how the cookie is baked here on this new tool that you are bringing us. So, bring it on, Shaun.
Okay, let's go. So we are on the Gatling homepage right now. And so what I wanted to do is just start off letting everybody know how they can get GatlingStudio. And then we'll go through a little demo. And I'm sure you'll have questions for me about how it works and what will come in the future. So I'm on the Gatling homepage. And if you want to download GatlingStudio, you can go to the product section. And then down here under latest releases, there's a link for the GatlingStudio page. If you want to know more about the details of what GatlingStudio does beyond this demo, you can read further down the page, but there's a little handy link here to take you to the download options. And there's also a link here for the GitHub page to allow you to give feedback or look at the release notes as we make future releases. So I'll click the link and go down, and you can see in the download section, there's a drop-down menu. We have versions for Windows, Mac OS, and Linux. And specifically, I'll just highlight for Linux that we have options for multiple flavors of Linux so that you can work with almost any platform, almost any OS to use GatlingStudio.
I want to quickly mention as well, I was playing a little bit with the download options. Everybody as well, if you are using the GitHub repository, there as well, you will see all the possible flavors and options. But I like this that guides you easier, like which OS system do you have and with Linux, what flavor, right?
Yeah, we're all about trying to make this easy for users to just get exactly what they need and get started. We want to make sure that the time to your first test is as short and painless as possible.
So bring it on.
Okay, so let's move over to GatlingStudio. So I'll open the GatlingStudio app. And after you've installed it, this is what it will look like with a welcome screen. And there's three options from this screen. You can log in with an existing Gatling Enterprise Edition account. If you're an existing customer that has SSO, we support you using your own SSO provider for logging into Studio as well. And then there's an option to create an account. There's no obligation to pay in this situation. Account creation is free. It's just a way for us to see who's using the product and make sure that we can identify how to make more improvements faster. Great. So if I'll go to the login button since I already have an account, and you will see a pop-up window that comes up. I'm already logged in, so in this case, it's asking me just to grant access to GatlingStudio. So I'll click yes.
And then you're redirected to log in in the platform. One thing also I wanted to intercede, I noticed that in the GatlingStudio login screen, you have also the option, if you don't have an account already, you just can click that, fill out
Yeah.
your information and have an account and start playing with the free demo for a
Yes.
little bit. And
Yes.
you
So
will follow the same steps, right?
exact same steps. And for the account creation, there's a limit on the amount of credits you have on our cloud platform, but the usage of GatlingStudio with your account creation is unlimited. So there's no time restriction or number of simulations that you can create restrictions either. Yeah. So let's go back to the GatlingStudio platform, and now you can see that we're logged into GatlingStudio. At this point, you can see that we have basically an option in the center of the screen to record a new journey. And then we have a left kind of classic left side menu. And
what are those options on the left menu now that I see it?
Let's run through those and see what they are. From the top, the first option is to create or select a workspace. So workspaces are a way for you to organize your work. So here, these are kind of like virtual folders where you can store things. They're folders on your machine, but they allow you to be more organized in your work. So we could create a new workspace if we want to. Let's put it on the desktop for now. And now moving from the workspace down, the next option is, which we've kind of gone to automatically, is recordings. So this is the section where we can create recordings from your web browser. So this is the part where you actually capture what's going on when you click around in the web browser to create the tests. And then we have, after that, we have scenarios. And the scenario is the basis of the load test. It's what the virtual user is doing, the journey that they have, and how we capture that sort of in a linear fashion of what the virtual user does, step 1, step 2, step 3.
I love that flow because it indicates to the user what are the steps that they should be following. And it's like a natural flow from upside down, left to right, that we are used on this side. It helps a lot the users, and you will see where do you have to flow.
And then down near the bottom, we have kind of your classic options like settings. The settings right now in the application are minimal, but they're the most important ones. So in this case, it lets you select which browser on your computer will be used to create the recordings. It will likely default to Google Chrome if you have it. We support Chromium-based browsers, so that's the most popular one on the market right now. If you have a different one that's not automatically detected, we also offer a manual configuration option that lets you pick another browser. I can tell you personally, I've played around with this a little bit, and it works really well. We can use some browsers that our developers didn't even know existed when they started writing the program. So yeah, it's nice. It's a nice little feature if you have a specific need to test or generate the test from a specific browser.
Now, one thing that I wanted to clarify, if everybody caught this, it's really important that you have a Chromium-based browser available in the application. Is like a requirement for this to work at the best, right?
Yeah, today that's a requirement. The team is looking at supporting Firefox in addition to the Chromium-based browsers, but so like Google Chrome and Brave are probably the two most popular ones. I tested it the other day with the ChatGPT Atlas browser. It works with that as well. So we're making progress in that area, and so it should work, with new browser, with any Chromium-based browser for now.
Excellent.
Okay, so and then finally down here, there's the option to sign out of the application. And at the very bottom, we let you know which version of Studio you're using. This is not important most of the time, but if you want to make a feature request, it's helpful for our developers to know which version you're using. So include that detail if you open a feature request in GitHub. Okay, so now let's dig in a little bit to what you can do and how to use GatlingStudio. So I'll go back
to start playing with it. Yes.
Yeah, that's the fun part, right? So I'll go back to the recordings tab, and it's easy
I
from
see
here
that there
to.
are two options, right?
That's right. Yeah. The fun thing for us to do today is to like actually create a recording. But if maybe you already have them because you've been doing tests that have been generated from HAR files in the past, an HAR file lets you you could have captured that data directly in something like Google Chrome. So you may have one that already exists, and you can import that and use that as the basis of your test instead of creating a new one. That's one option that we support. And the second option, the one that's more fun to demonstrate today, is for us to actually record a user journey.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest requests, because in the past, having the HAR files and separate steps, opening the browser and then exporting and doing all those steps, this functionality is part of what is trying to make it easier for you to just flow, record, and have everything ready afterwards, right?
Yeah. And the big difference here from some previous versions of kind of a similar functionality is that we're not setting up a proxy, which if you've done that and you've tried to like set up a proxy in Firefox and it's just it works one day and it's broken the next day. We just want this to be like as like kind of painless as possible for you to go from clicking in the browser to having the load test script ready to go. So should we give it a shot?
Yes, bring it on.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to click record a journey, and then it comes up and asks you to enter the URL where you want to record the journey. So it's preloaded here because I've run some other tests with a demo site that Gatling provides where you can test your load testing scripts. This is a kind of an e-commerce app, and we're going to see it in just 1 second. So I'll click start recording. And then let's go over, it's going to open a separate version of Chrome, a separate window of Chrome. And we're on the page. Let me get rid of that message. And you can see now that we've loaded the page. So what is this demo app? It has a couple of sections at the top, products and about, search, shopping cart, and a login option. Kind of typical call to action, and then you can see there's a bunch of different products that you can interact with. So if we want to record a journey on here, maybe we want to browse through some products, we can scroll down and look, maybe go to the second page, and maybe I'm interested in this green satchel. I can open this. Let's buy it, add it to the cart. Okay, but we're not done shopping yet. So let's go back. And maybe we will buy the pink satchel while we're at it. Okay, so now we can add that to the cart directly from this page. And the prices on these pages are very expensive, so I don't want to buy too many items. So now I'll go to the top, back to the top of the page and go to checkout. And when I press the checkout button, it will be mad at me because I haven't actually logged in. So I haven't given you any information to be able to take my money. So it'll take me to the login page. I can log in. And now let's go back and check out for real this time. Okay, so we've done like what everybody at this point has done at some point in time, gone onto an e-commerce page, browsed, and made some purchases. Now let's see what that means in GatlingStudio. We can stop the recording simply by closing the Chrome window.
That instance, and GatlingStudio will detect automatically?
Yes, so you can see we've closed the window, and we can see on the screen right now, it says that your journey has been successfully recorded. You can also, if you want, toggle back to GatlingStudio and manually stop the recording. So there's an optionality there depending on what feels like more natural to you for how you like to work. We now can name the file. So this would be the name of the HAR file. So let's maybe give it a little bit more fun name than that. Let's call it, let's see. Shopping test maybe sounds okay to me for today. Okay, and save.
Wow, I see all the steps that were recorded by.
Now, everything we just did is going to show up on this screen. Um, it has everything from, you can see like these are like static calls for CSS elements on the page. There's some other things in here like loading image files that show up. And so there's a lot here. And I think if we kind of scroll down a little bit, you can see it just keeps going, and there's a lot of things
Mhm.
here. We know from what we just did, we didn't do that many steps. I don't know, maybe 10 or 12 steps at the most, that were the user actions. And so a lot of this isn't really representing what the user was doing. It's all the things that had to be loaded to make the website appear visually decent for the user. So this is not something that we always want to like preserve, and frequently in load testing we don't care about things like image files for load testing.
Another clarification, there are some others from third party, some websites will have like Google trackers, several things
Yeah.
that you may catch, and you really don't want to be simulating those, right?
Yeah, so I'll give you an example. Like on our demo page, this is like pretty clean, all things considered. I was working with the product manager for this the other day, and we ran a test, created a simulation using a Yahoo-based page,
Ooh.
and he clicked around on maybe like 5 or 6 things. We looked at the recording, and there were, like 5,000 items. And so I'll add a little tiny note here. When you do this, if you do either like a lot of steps, or if it's like a big page like Yahoo, where they're loading tons of scripts, we only display the first 200 on the screen when
Mhm.
you start off. You can load everything. We give you that option, but just for like performance reasons, in the application, we just start off loading the top 200 so that your system doesn't get bogged down by like all the things that also bog it down when you go to those websites.
Yeah. Yeah, a performance tool doesn't want to have bad performance, so it's good to
Yes,
paginate
very
it, to say
important.
it in a way, and show what's important.
Yeah. Okay, so this is nice, but that's not why we're here. We want to have a load test. So to create the load test, can click on this scenario button here.
Mhm.
And now we are in this kind of popped up window, and we have the choice to do some filtering. So the first thing we can see here is it defaults to excluding the static resources. So those are like your image files. Maybe for some reason you really want to keep those. We give you the option to toggle that and put them all back in, or you can, in our case, we'll leave them out. The second option we have here is that we can decide which domains we want to include in the load test. So because in this case, there's like the API, which are the calls that we're probably the most interested in from the standpoint of load testing, but there's also the calls to the front end. And so we can exclude that if we want to get down to just the API calls. So now we have.
In that part, I wanted to intercede is where it's going to be very important that we were mentioning earlier. If you would record it from a Yahoo site and you have from all of the other places, you just want to keep the Yahoo requests so that you are not
Yeah.
loading third-party sites while you have your script.
And this is the kind of thing that where we've made, I think, a significant, leap over some of the first generation ways to create recordings, because it's a nicer UI, and you can just, use a click here and there to change which items are included, instead of having to maybe edit them out in the code, or, use some sort of exclusion regex type of terminology to clean up your scripts. Nobody wants to do that.
That was not pretty. Yeah.
So now we have this fairly straightforward looking list, all things considered, and you can see that we get the method, the status type, and then the endpoint here on the end. And now it's starting to look kind of a little bit more like you could imagine a load test. We have, I don't know, what are there, a handful of steps. I guess it says that there's 11 total steps in there, a mix of get and post requests. And so this starts to look more reasonable. Now, if we click the filter recording button, it'll take us to the final version of what we were just looking at. And it's done one more thing, which is that it's put pauses into the scenario. So
Mm.
this is really why there's like two good reasons to use these kind of browser-based recordings. One of them is in very complex, especially very complex sites, it allows you to capture the endpoints without having to kind of work backwards from the code for like which endpoints need to be included in your user journey. So it's like really a thing that saves you time and speeds you up. But another really important reason is that like for good load tests, we need to like mimic as close as possible what real users do. So if we just hit each API endpoint like 100 milliseconds after the previous one, like no user is doing that. They're looking and making decisions on your site. So you can see that what we did is we captured the actual pause time in between each step. So in this case, this was loading the page, and here this big pause is when I was talking for too long. So maybe that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but imagine you're trying to buy something and you get distracted by your barking dog. So maybe you look away for a few minutes, and then
Another thing that happens usually, especially in login parts, is where you're trying to remember your password, or is some
yes.
natural stuff that we humans do. And why is this important? Sometimes when you're at a project, you don't get an indication of how much should it be stopping in between steps. You are a real human. You stopped, and you know more or less what is realistic. Which most of the times we want to simulate realistic users. So that's why it is important to have this step in the recording.
And this is a tiny bit of a tangent here, but one of the things that will come up is that in the end, this is still core like Gatling test as code. We're going to end up in that space. So this recording, there's this 36-second pause in my case, but we can later modify this and have it not be 36 seconds for each virtual user. We can say vary it between 1 and 36 seconds. So we can have the power of code to take this one generated script and then make it have a little bit more randomness that distributes user behaviors. So we're really trying to get as close as possible to like what would happen if you have many users on your application at the same time.
Some users may have it easier remembering their password, way faster,
Yeah.
or some others like us, like, oh, which one did I put on this side? So
maybe you could add a 0 here for me.
important.
I'm trying to remember my passwords. Okay, so we have this nice clean script right now here that shows each of the calls to the endpoints and the intervening pauses. At this step, what you can do right now is you can export the project. What this will do is it will create a fully functional Gatling test that you can download. You can run it on your local computer. You can also upload it to our enterprise cloud platform and run a load test there. And that's sort of the stopping point for what you can do with GatlingStudio today. But I'll make a couple points here, is that in the near future, these pauses will become editable. So like you can, for example, you recorded it, and in our example before of getting this really long pause here because I was talking, maybe that wasn't what we wanted in the actual test. And so you'll be able to go in and modify that as well.
One question that I have as well before we get to the second element, what does the edit button do?
Let's see. What does the edit button do? Let's find out. Okay, this takes us basically back into the same screen again for being able to work on the script at this point. So that's
if you notice something that you want to take out or filter some server or some endpoint.
Yeah, that's an important point. We could decide for some reason, like we said before, maybe there's more than one API that's being called and we picked the wrong one to test. So we can go backwards and fix that at this step we're not like locked in at each step without having to go back and start from scratch. So there's lots of chances to go backwards, iterate, and figure out exactly what it is that you need for your tests.
Excellent. Okay, sorry. What was the second point?
Oh yeah, just I thought it might be interesting at this step to just talk for just a couple of seconds about some of
Hmm.
the other things that we're going to include in Gatling Studio in the very near future.
Ooh,
Um,
coming soon. Okay,
yeah,
bring it
so
on.
the team is like working really hard on this. We're going to add in some features like automated checks, where
Hmm.
we can basically do things like check status codes. So you'll be able to, in your test, know that like verify that at a specific call that you're getting a 200 return and not a 404, for example. Um, and in addition to adding the automated checks, we're going to also make it so that you can run basically like a smoke test on the script in Gatling Studios, so that you'll know that the test works and that it's functional before you move it off from Gatling Studio into either your local environment or to our cloud platform.
Nice. There are lots of things that sounds like are coming up soon in the near future with Gatling Studio. A quick question: where can people stay tuned with these updates and these news?
So from where we started off today, the on the GitHub repo, we'll
Hmm.
always post the new versions and the new release notes. We're also going to prompt you in the application when there's a new version released, so you'll be able to update to the latest version. And I really recommend that because there's going to be a lot of changes in the coming weeks and months. So
Hmm.
be on top of it and get the new features because they're going to just keep making your life easier with each release.
Stay tuned to those updates. Check the GitHub page and check your application so that you are sure that you are running the latest version and not an old
Yes.
one.
Yeah. Um,
So, Sean, sorry, bring it on. Keep going.
yeah. I'll just go quickly to note that if you're ready to export your test, we have a little pop-up window here when you hit export project,
Hmm.
and it lets you pick the base URL. So if we had left all of the options in, if we'd had the ecommerce.gatling.io and then also this API slash or dash ecom, it would let you pick the base URL. Well, what is that? That sounds like, what does that mean? In the Gatling test that gets generated, a base URL is a parameter that lets you not have to retype it over and over again. So when we pick this, now it will just have the endpoint uh, as each endpoint will have its address, but without this, because this will just be automatically added when you at the runtime for the test.
This is very useful to have it parameterized because sometimes
Yes.
you may be running these automations in a pre-prod environment, QA, or different ones, and this setting makes it easier for you to migrate your script from one environment to another. It's really important to have this type of
Yeah, that's
functionalities,
right.
everybody.
And in fact, when you get into the coding part of this, if you want to make some more changes, we also support the ability of adding multiple base URLs so that you can use
Mm.
more than one in the test and call them individually. So it's like can parameterize multiple base URLs, and then that way, if you did have like say two different APIs in your test, you can have them both parameterized, and it's Friday, and
Yeah, yeah.
that. Can be really helpful to just keeping your and your code clean and organized, and even like you said, moving easier between environments.
Hmm.
So I'll just click on this here, and I will click the export button so you can see that it actually works. Let's put this on our desktop as well. And what it does is it just exports a zip file. We can
Hmm.
open it just so you can see. And what that is a completely functional Gatling project based on Java and using the Maven build tool. You can open this in your IDE and basically from there run the test. If you put in the command to run the test, it will download all the dependencies and run the test on your system. What we can also do that I like to do these demos a little bit like a cooking show where we could go through the process of putting this onto the cloud platform, but instead I've pre-baked the same or similar simulation on the cloud platform. So I'm going to close
Hmm.
this and we
Yummy
can,
cake ready to be eaten. Don't you like
yes, that's right. It's like
that?
everybody wants to taste at the end. They don't want to wait 45 more minutes for the baking
What is
steps.
bacon?
So I will click back over to our Chrome window, and go to this tab where I'm already logged into our cloud platform. And if you haven't had a chance to play around with this, if you sign up for GatlingStudio access, you can use the same login credentials to access our enterprise platform. And I think you get something like 30 minutes of free testing right now with the trial account. So it gives you plenty of options to start to test and see what it's like to run tests on the enterprise platform. And we're on the home screen right now. I'm going to go to simulations, which is a list of our load test simulations. And I have this e-commerce buyer flow, which is basically the same thing that we just created in GatlingStudio. And if we want to, we can just start from here. We could start a new run. I'll just note quickly that this also shows you that we've run the test 2 times before with some kind of high-level metrics about the test results. And I'll just kick off a run so that we can just see how easy it is to go from getting the test up on the platform to having the test simulation running.
This is great because as well, it's easy for the step usually to create the script, to have the hard files, to have everything when you have to do a browser recording. Gets a little bit complex to have the end script. And finally, if you are using a cloud platform like Gatling Cloud to run your load tests, is way better to have these through GatlingStudio, because you can just quick and easy bring it up, upload it, and start playing with it like Shaun is showing us right now, right?
Yeah, and in another feature that we will have coming out in the, I would call it like medium-term future right now, will be the ability from GatlingStudio to directly launch your test on our enterprise cloud platform. So you'll be able to go one step further than that export step and basically tell it to push the test to the cloud and then start the test from the cloud. So you'll not have to go through the intermediate step of downloading the script or uploading it to the cloud platform.
Great, making steps easier and flow better for everybody using it, right?
Yeah, I mean, our goal here is to make life easier for people that are creating and running load tests, no matter what your profile is. So it's going to be able to speed things up, even if you're like a super awesome developer who writes code all day long, or if you do a little bit of coding and have a lot of other responsibilities, you'll still be able to create the test and get it up into the platform and running without a lot of friction.
Well, I look forward to those functionalities because it's really great when you are in the platform like GatlingStudio. You just bring everything up, start running, and then you just wait and open your browser to this. I think that test already finished, and that's something that you can see. Just land on this page and start to see how everything went, right?
That's right. And we can go back and see now that our third test is up on here. And it ran with the same results, amazingly, as the last time. But that's probably not surprising for a very simple test. And that's all it is. It's really simple to get your results. You can do so much more in this platform in addition to what we just did in terms of collaboration and sharing your results, analyzing your test data. So if you haven't played around with this yet, we have tons of content on the website where you can learn more about the full Gatling functionality. And our technical documentation is also, really helpful to get you started in other parts of load testing if it's something that's a little bit new to you.
Yeah, for everybody watching, we'll make sure that you have all the links to all the sources that Shaun is bringing up and mentioning, so that you can get on top of this and start playing as easy and as straightforward as possible. That's why, as well, Shaun wanted to start with, this is how you get Gatling. I mean, baking the cake and showing you how it is installed. Well, if it's an installer, they make it standard and straightforward as possible, right?
That's right. Let's open the file and drag and drop it into the applications folder, and it's installed.
Yeah, super easy and straightforward steps where you can follow all these. Because usually in the past, there were users that were like, I wish I getting it from a browser and juggling with the HAR files and trying to bring it up into a script. There were just too many steps that you had to follow with. And hopefully this will make it easier for everybody to flow and for everybody to start playing with it. But Shaun, seems like we are getting close to the end of this demo. But I wanted to ask you as well. It sounds like there are many new things coming up to Gatling Studio that you mentioned already. Are there any others that you look forward to, or you're excited that will be in the platform soon?
In Gatling Studio specifically, I shouldn't tell you about this, but
Oh, top secret.
yeah,
He already
but
spoiled us a few of those. So
we we are working on additional ideas for how to automate and simplify test creation. And I think if you pay attention to our social media on, like, say, LinkedIn or our website, early in the year, we're going to roll out some examples and some new features in Gatling Studio that will allow you to, like, really turbocharge creating user scripts and getting them up and running.
I
won't give
like
it away
that
anymore
description.
Yeah.
Turbocharge. No, but that's something that everybody listening us, tuning in, check this out, because there are several new things that are so great and top secret and coming up soon to your Gatling Studio. No, that you should be looking forward. I can tell that Shaun is excited about them, but it reminds me a lot of the Avengers movies when they're coming and Tom Holland's about to spill the beans, and Shaun is like
Yes.
that right now.
Yeah, exactly like that. Yes.
So, Shaun, any other cool details before we wrap up? Any other things that you would like the audience to know, to follow up with, or to be aware of about Gatling?
Yeah, I think I would just say that in case you haven't looked lately, in the last year or two, we've released a lot of new features to try to ease test creation and speed up in running an interpretation of load tests. Specifically, we released a SDK for JavaScript and TypeScript, maybe now about a year and a half ago, and that's basically designed to give people who spend most of their life in JavaScript the ability to write tests more easily than having to switch to Java, for example. And we just keep making tons of improvements on the platform side to improve reporting and the ability to analyze the test data. And I think you'll see a lot more things in that space coming up in the next 3 to 6 months.
Nice. I can tell I've experienced in the past that Gatling only supported Scala for automating, and now moving forward to more languages, more Java, JavaScript, all these ones make it way easier, right?
Yep, that's the idea. And so we have really comprehensive get started materials, and the documentation really focused on Java and JavaScript at this point. And if you love Scala, you can still work in Scala. That's the language that the Gatling was originally written in. It's not going away, but we want to make sure that it's accessible to the widest audience of users possible. So we have a big focus on the programming languages that most of us have had some experience with.
Yeah, and I like that opportunity, because as well, Java is one of the ones that most everybody have had some experience with. JavaScript as well. Many that say, I'm not a developer, I'm just an automator, or you have played with JavaScript because it's in the HTML recordings most of the time. So it's something that I really like. Shaun, thank you so much for showing us all these awesome new features that Gatling is bringing up with Gatling Studio and the cloud functionalities. Now to wrap it up, I would like to ask you, you already mentioned through this episode some of the places where we can find you, but would you mind reminding us, where can people get in touch, follow up, and know what are the latest news with Gatling, with the releases, and if you want, with you yourself or anyone else on the team?
Yeah, so the first place to always start is on our homepage. It's the kind of source of truth for what's going on. But we have a lot of content on LinkedIn. We also have multiple GitHub repos that are public, including the core Gatling engine the Gatling Studio project, where you are more than welcome to like open an issue or even a PR if you really want to. And let's see, we're active on social media like X and Blue Sky as well. So you can find us in those places pretty easily.
Yeah, check it out for their website, gatling.io, and follow up with Gatling in all the other social media platforms. I'll make sure to include all the contact details and elements and links that you may need to reach out and follow up with what's new with Gatling. And now I think we have gotten to the end of this episode. Any last words, Shaun, before we say goodbye?
Well, just two things. One, download Gatling Studio and give it a try. And the second one is thanks, Leandro, for having me.
No, it has been such a pleasure. I'm always happy to bring to all the performance and load testing community these new tools, these new functionalities, so that everybody can at least have an easier time and know what are the latest tools that are available there, the capabilities, and so that they can get playing with them or start with performance. We need more people in performance, please.
Yes, sir.
Well, with that, we'll wrap it up. Shaun, thank you very much. Have a great day.
You as well. Thank you, Andrew.
Adios, Shaun.
Adios.
Okay, with that, there you have it. This was a quick presentation that our amigo Shaun Brown brought us about GatlingStudio, the new functionalities that they have, and the ones that are coming, the ones that he could speak about, and the ones that are top secret that will be coming soon. So stay tuned with other news for GatlingStudio. And if you want to learn more about other performance testing features, tools, knowledge, and best practices, check the links here on the screen appearing, and stay tuned for more good performance here with your amigo Señor Performo. For now, Leandro out, and I wish you a very good day. Adios.